Welcome to the Northeast Kingdom Voice. I'm your host, Scott Wheeler. Remember the show, Field of Dreams by Kevin Costner, where dreams came true in a cornfield? Well, today's guests are here today to talk about their own Field of Dreams. Welcome to the show. And I'll let the two of you introduce yourselves and talk about your Field of Dreams.
I'll let you go first, Christiane.
Scott, thank you so much for having us here today. My name's Christiane Brown, and I co-facilitate the Field of Dreams Facilitation Committee. The Field of Dreams Committee was formed in 2018, October 2018, and the dream was started in the spring of 2018, May 2018. Oh, I should start over. This is ridiculous. Okay.
Do you want to just cut out? All right, start over your part.
I'm going to just start over.
Yeah.
Does that
You want
work?
me to go first?
You go first, Scott. That works.
Okay.
Okay, so just branch over to what after I get done. Just pick him up. Yep.
Ready?
Yep.
Hello. Thank you for having me on your show. We appreciate the opportunity to get the message out about the Field of Dreams, which is a project that...
Wait. You never said your name, by the
Oh.
way. So let's start that over
Okay,
again.
so-
Say hi.
I'm Scott Boskind. Currently, I'm the board chair of the North Country Union Junior High School Board, and I'm here representing the Field of Dreams Facilitation Committee, of which I've been a member since 2018, since Christiane Brown, my co-facilitator, brought the concept of building a baseball diamond and a softball diamond at the junior high school, which would be used by middle schoolers throughout our supervisory union, which includes 11 schools in 13 towns, as well as by the community at large for women's softball, Babe Ruth baseball, and so on and so forth. We felt as a board this was a great idea, and we were able to pursue it largely through the efforts of Christiane Brown. So I'll turn it over to you, Christiane, so you can continue with the story of the Field of Dreams.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you, Scott, for having us here today. As stated, my name's Christiane Brown. I teach at North Country Union Junior High School. I just finished my 17th year working with middle school students and teaching physical education. In the spring of 2018, I had a vision and a dream to build two beautiful baseball and softball fields on our athletic complex, and I brought that vision to the school board, and the school board was in support of my dream, of my vision, and we formed a facilitation committee made up of community members throughout the Northeast Kingdom who have come together and fundraised and raised the funds to not only put in a beautiful baseball and softball field, we have upgraded our soccer facility, and we've also incorporated an ADA path to our space. So it is just spectacular.
Now tell me, I started off by mentioning Kevin Costner's movie. Have you both watched that?
Yes.
Yes.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's one of those timeless movies that you can, and at least I can sit there and watch it over and over again, and it's just, and a lot of times I actually catch something, the second time, the third time I'll catch something new. So Kevin Costner hasn't walked out of your cornfield yet.
Not yet, but we've had some beautiful elk in the background. We've had some buffalo in the background.
But I should also add, the shirt that you're wearing, Christiane, that says, "If you build it, they will come." That's actually a famous line from the movie that you're referring to.
That's true.
And two of our facilitation committee members, Elias Marquis and Doug Spates, first of all, Doug came up with the suggestion that we call our committee, we wanted to give it a name to have more context, and he suggested Field of Dreams, which everybody just instantly felt was a great idea. And then Elia was thinking about this, and she actually had these T-shirts made up for minimal price that anybody that's on the committee and others could buy and wear. So most of us on the committee have those shirts now.
You know, I think it's a great idea because as much as, you know, Derby is slowly becoming, well, it's a hub of the region, one of the hubs of the region, particularly of the retail region. Derby hasn't historically done a lot with recreation, and we used to have a recreation committee. I don't believe there's one any longer, so I think this is probably long overdue. And those of us with kids who've grown up spent a lot of time in that back field because that's where the soccer tournaments used to be held. So
I think what's interesting with this project, you know, it's not done. We're still working on it, but the common thing or the common question that we get is it's just for Derby residents. And I think it's really important that we overemphasize that the students who are at the junior high are not just Derby residents.
No.
And those that participate in Wildcat soccer or participate in
It's Northern Vermont Soccer School.
Northern Vermont Soccer School, yes. We have so many people using our space, and it's not just for kids, it's for young adults and older adults in our community.
right. Now here's a little bit of historic trivia. Do you know what used to be in the 1920s and in the early 30s there, out further? That was one of the state's first airports. As it was the Canadian Gateway Airport. I can't remember offhand, but it used to be a sizable airport out in back of what then was Derby Academy.
I think I read an article in Northland Journal about that.
I've written
didn't I?
extensively
Yeah.
about the old airport.
That's how I heard about that.
Yeah.
So I did know it because of you.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
I'll send you the article.
Awesome, thank you.
How's the project coming?
So the project actually, when we as a committee started in October of 2018, we talked about what the plan was, which was to build a softball and baseball field, and what we would need financially in order to put those in. And within a month and a half from that first meeting, we received our Grand Slam sponsor, the Rotary Club of Newport. They donated over $20,000, and they're going to be the major sponsor of our project. And from that first sponsorship from a community group, it was amazing. We raised enough funds to build the fields in the spring of 2019. So in less than 6 months, we were moving in the right direction.
You know, I'll give the Rotary a big plug. Although I'm not a member, I've been asked numerous times, but I don't have the time. But they've been on my show quite a bit. Is a lot of organizations, they're more of just a social gathering of people to sit around and talk. The Rotary goes far beyond talk. They actually do, and you know, I think they're. If I were going to belong to any organization, I would belong to them because they really do a lot of great things. So it doesn't surprise me that they stepped forward to help you out.
I agree. I knew the Rotary Club only because of the Rotary basketball tournament, having had coached basketball teams, both boys and girls, from the early 70s through into the 80s. And so I ran into Rotary Club members that way. But once we formed the committee, which actually the committee came about because although the junior high board was receptive to the idea of adding a baseball and softball diamond, gave Christiane the go-ahead to get some numbers. When she came back, having consulted with Diamond Turf, which is a company out of Burke, or East Burke, I'm not sure which was in Burke, owned by Chip Stevens and his wife Sarah. It's a small company that specializes in athletic field construction and maintenance, right in our backyard. She came back to the board with a $50,000 price tag. And the board lost some of its enthusiasm because this hadn't been budgeted, and this would be something that would be low on the priority list compared to the education of students and maintenance of the building. So that's how we ended up forming a committee. I went to Christiane and I said, I know we don't have the funds as a junior high, but maybe we can get together with some folks from the community and pull this together through donations. And it can't be car washes and spaghetti dinners. It has to be more substantial type of donations. So once, as Christiane said, the Rotary Club came in with $20,000, and now it's been up to $22,000. That pledge by the Rotary Club was like a spur. It incentivized other community organizations. And so we got $10,000 donations after that from Fred's Energy and Community National Bank, and $5,000 donations from
J Peak.
Go ahead, yeah, she has the whole list.
Yeah, we got 5,000 donation from J Peak and from Spates Family. We received a $7,500 donation from North Country Hospital and Passumpsic Bank.
Right.
The community support has just been spectacular. You know, we're naming off these big dollar amounts, and I think what's important that we emphasize is no matter what the amount is, if it's 25, 50, 100, it's all going into the Field of Dreams, which is our athletic facility in the back of the junior high. And I know that we've had over 80 sponsors towards our project.
And one of the concepts that we established, or goal, early on once we formed this committee, and Christiane was largely responsible for bringing members to the table. And that first meeting that we had in October of 2018 to formulate the committee and see if this was something we could then go ahead and pursue, brought 18 people to the table, and they were mostly having had experience coaching currently in softball, baseball, basketball. So she has contact with her being the varsity girls basketball coach at North Country High School, and having coached soccer and middle school sports and so on and so forth. She has contacts with all the coaches in the area. So we had several of them who are, like yourself, volunteers to a lot of things. They volunteer their time as coaches. And so she brought probably 10 people together who have that expertise. And we had others that have connections within the community. And one of them, or a couple of them, happen to be members of the Rotary Club. And so since that experience, I became much more familiar with what you're talking about, because Newport Rotary Club and Rotary clubs nationally and internationally, their motto is service before self. And that's what they're all about, is finding ways to give back to the community and to help the community. And it just goes on and on with that organization.
During my last, I'd say, near 15 years with my radio show, and then maybe 8 years here, they've been regular guests. I'm happy to spotlight everything they're doing, because you know, a lot of these groups are actually they're disappearing now. People are too busy. They're going in, but the Rotary is one group that just, they keep on moving forward. Okay, well, let's look at a few photos of the project being built.
So let's just kind of talk about when the project started in the spring of 2019. We were hoping to start during April break, And unfortunately, I don't know if you remember the spring of 2019, the snow was just was here to stay, and then it became very wet. So we weren't able to start our project until May. So as Scott said, we were very fortunate to have Diamond Turf, a local company who specializes in athletic fields, come in and turn our space into a pristine area. If you haven't been there, I really recommend that you come out and check out our ADA path and walk around the athletic facility. So on May 8th, they came in and they measured the field and they flagged it. So we have two pictures showing flags of where the softball and baseball field would be. Diamond Turf got the stamp of approval, and following that, they came in and actually skinned the infield. So within a day of them skinning, you clearly could see a baseball diamond and a softball infield, which was just spectacular. And from there, obviously we had lots of material trucked in, so our infield material is the same material that's on Fenway. So that, like I said, it's a pristine athletic facility, so we have a nice base of infield material, and then the top of it has some beautiful red conditioner to make it look pretty sweet. Backstops were the final part to the puzzle. So I do have some pictures showing the poles going in. So we were able to play. I also am the middle school athletic director for the North Country Supervisory Union, which basically means I provide kids opportunities, grades 5 through 8, to be part of something bigger than themselves and be physically active and work on their development of team skills, etc. So one of the groups that I organize is softball and baseball for the SU. And in the spring of 2019, the last regular season home game, those two teams had a chance to play on the brand new fields, which was just awesome.
So, all right, are the photos done now?
And then you'll see that there's an aerial view of a photo.
All right. Yeah. All right. So sorry, Todd. So.
Yep. So basically.
No. Talk about your aerial view.
So we had Josh Provost from Champlain Valley Equipment come in with their drone and take an aerial view while Diamond Turf was there working on our athletic facility. So you'll see a nice shot of our baseball, softball, and soccer fields.
How did, just out of curiosity, has COVID changed anything? It changed everybody else's life, but I'm not sure if it did with this project.
Well, it has changed the momentum of the project, which now is what we're calling phase 2, because once we established the funds needed to construct the baseball and softball field and put some funds into upgrading the soccer field, we had some goals that were left still to be completed, such as putting in dugouts, and I'll talk a little bit about that separately because that's an interesting sidelight to the project, but also putting up some additional fencing, which would be a barrier to give safety barrier, really, to protect spectators from being hit by overthrown balls or balls hit foul. So that's a necessary additional cost. So we ended up realizing after raising something in the neighborhood of $83,000 for the first phase, that we still had some parts of the project left to be completed. And when COVID hit, it caused us to go to remote meetings of the committee, which are okay but less effective. So I think our last in-person meeting just happened to take place around the beginning of March, or first week in March, and then we went remote like everybody else by Zoom or
Google Meet.
Google Meet, which Christiane would facilitate. But it also slowed down our pursuit of continuing to seek donors because the pandemic has certainly affected the economy, and some people have been hit tremendously hard. Some businesses, of course, have been hit tremendously hard. So it's too soon to evaluate whether there is still an ability to get some donations to continue phase 2 of the project. So phase 2 is on hold. We do have a donor's sign that is, that's the promise that was given to the donors of any donation of $1,000 or up would get the name of the individual or the individual's organization or business on the sign in the form of a permanent advertisement for businesses or organizations. So we've done work with Paul Netto of Legacy Signs right here in Newport, and he has worked with the committee, and we've gone back and forth, and finally we've finalized the design of the sign. So that's going to be going up fairly soon. So we have the funds for that. So other things that remain, I'm sure Christiane will detail if you want to hear about that.
So I think it's important. Has COVID affected us? Yes. In the sense of fundraising, but it hasn't affected us in the sense of still having hope and still moving forward. And this committee is here to stay and work and make sure that our athletic facility becomes complete. We do need to prioritize what needs to happen when. You know, we do have a pretty big wish list, I guess you could say, so to speak. But it comes down to safety and necessities and what is really needed right now at this time. Because as Scott has said, all the funds, it's not from the school, right? It's all fundraised. And we need to make sure that we prioritize our items on the list. And one of them that's right up there that needs to be done sooner than later is our donor sign, and we're hoping to have that up before the start of the school year.
We only have about 5 more minutes left, but this is probably a long shot, but does Kevin Cosner have a foundation that you might want to, since it's Field of Dreams, just maybe he might want to adopt?
We've never heard that idea before. That's a great idea. Very possible.
You know, it's a long shot, but you know, it might. Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest with you. We've thought about seeing if he would come up when we have our ribbon cutting ceremony. That was supposed to happen this spring, and bring in all those that have sponsored our facility.
That was affected.
And we really wanted to have Kevin Costner come out of the corn during that. So maybe we can put that into the works for the future. But if they have a foundation, I'm sure someone from the committee would be ready and willing to look at it.
In the time remaining, I do want to give a shout out to the Career Center, North Country Career Center, because it's in collaboration with 2 programs, Natural Resources and Building Trades, and with the director, Eileen Aluzzi, giving the stamp of approval to this. That's how our dugouts are being constructed. So for Natural Resources, the instructor, Sam Nijensen, has had his crew out with chainsaws and skidders and so on, and they cut timber and then milled the timber and then sent it over to Jeremy Bro, who was the building trades instructor, and they actually started putting together our 4 6-by-16-foot dugouts that they're building at the high school. And so they would have been completed if it hadn't been for the shutdown. They were well on their way to having it completed by the end of the school year. So that's a project that'll be picked up once students are able to go back into the Career Center and work together with their instructors. And we're actually hoping that we can enlarge that original design from 16 feet to 20 feet and make it 8 by 20, because once we had it staked out and actually looked at it, we realized that we were a little on the small side. But if we can't, 6 by 16 will do. So again, wanted to give a shout out to the Career Center. So it's really a complete community the whole supervisory union, all 13 towns, 11 schools, will have use of these fields for a long time in the future. These fields are being constructed by a person who has great expertise, Chip Stevens, and he works at college level, high school level, and has been trained on the Major League Baseball level, actually, as apprenticed for Major League Baseball teams. So we're lucky to have a resource like him to build it.
I also would just really want to emphasize, I know many people, when I say NCU JHS Field of Dreams, some people look at me like, what is that? And I think that's the whole point of this show today, is we really want to make sure everyone understands what our Field of Dreams is. It's the junior high athletic facility becoming a multi-purpose space for many to use. So again, we really want to thank our community support. It wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. And I highly encourage individuals, families, groups, go out and check out our beautiful space.
How, if a viewer or a listener would like to contribute, how can they contribute?
So, well, one, they can reach out to myself, Christiane Brown, at ncsuvt.org, and I would give them specific information. They could stop right to the junior high, and people there would be able to inform them, and they could write a check or hand cash over, and that is how they can contribute.
Okay, what are your final words?
Well, for my final words would be just to thank you, Scott, for doing this interview so we can get this message out and invite the community to come and use the Field of Dreams. They can, if it's a group, they can call and they can be scheduled. We have possibly Babe Ruth baseball continuing. If they start playing, they'll be up there. There's an Old Timers men's baseball league who used the baseball field last summer. There's a women's soccer league who are already scheduled to use the fields, or just dad and mom and their kids to go up and throw the ball around and use the soccer field, or kick the ball around, use the soccer field, play baseball or softball. Get out there and use those fields. It's a healthy endeavor, and it's a beautiful facility. So we want to thank the community for giving it support and invite the community to make use of this wonderful facility.
In my final thoughts, it's amazing, must be great minds think alike. I wanted to thank you for giving us this opportunity today to share our dream and our vision with our local community. And I cannot thank the community sport enough. And more importantly, I can't thank the school board for believing in my vision and, so to speak, giving me the ball, pitching me the ball and letting me hit it out of the park. So we're ready to keep playing ball and keep this vision moving forward. If it takes 2, 3, 5 years, not sure, but we're in it till the end.
Okay, thank you both for coming on the show, and thank you for all your good works.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
And thank you to the viewers for tuning in to another segment of the Northeast Kingdom Voice.